to this international workshop, MAC 2021. Let us understand what is research in a very simple language, in a very simple way. If at all we'll be discussing what is research. Research is a systematic investigation. When we are taking the word systematic investigation, means it is scientific. So research must be a scientific one. I will tell you why it should be a scientific one. And and the study of materials and sources. Materials and sources. Materials may be physical, may be intellectual, sources may be tangible, may be intangible also. In order to establish the facts and reach new conclusions. So we have to establish the facts, the principles, the knowledge we have gathered through our research. We have to establish that fact and reach new conclusion. That conclusion must be result-based, must be evidence-based. So research is very much intended, is very much meant for developing, for creation of a new knowledge. So when we are talking about creating new knowledge, we may use the existing knowledge, or we may develop new methodology, new mechanism to derive or to reach at the new knowledge stage. So the main purpose of research is to inform the action, gather evidence of theories, not to collect the information and gather it without any purpose. If at all we are gathering the information, that should be established, must be using for establishing the knowledge in the field of the study. And the next one is why it is scientific. I told that it should be scientific one, because we must be knowing the difference between science and arts. Science means to know, arts means to do. So science refers to the body of systematic and organized knowledge which makes use of scientific methods to acquire knowledge. So scientific method is a systematic collection of data. So there we are very much intended, we are very much going to follow the experimentation, observations, and through all those combinations, maybe arguments from accepted sources. So with this, we will verify, we'll see what are the factors those are going to playing a very, very vital role in decision-making process. So we are doing research for what? For getting new idea, new knowledge to be established, new idea to be presented. So in that case, there are different areas we must be understanding before entering into the subject. So there are internal factors of an organization, such as resources, technology, trade unions, cash flow, manpower. These are one areas. Trade unions, these are one areas. External factors, maybe government factors, maybe policies, maybe political factors, maybe social economic factors, maybe legal framework, maybe geographic, maybe cultural factors. So apart from that, we have quantitative as well as qualitative factors also. So quantitative factors always such as time, we can measure, resources, cost factors, and qualitative factors may be cohesiveness, sense of belonging employees, risks technological management, risks of technological changes. So these are the areas, and uncertainty factors are there also to be predicted, because these areas plays a very important role where research could be taken place, that we have to develop our skill to solve the crisis of those areas. And very briefly, I am going to tell you types of research. One is descriptive versus analytical research. So descriptive research is a fact-finding investigation type of research. And analytical research is primarily concerned with testing hypothesis and specifying the interpreting relationship. And applied versus fundamental research. Applied research or action research is carried out to find solution to a real life problem. And fundamental research, which is known as basic or pure research, is undertaken for the sake of knowledge. Like it is undertaken out of intellectual curiosity. It is not necessary that you will go for problem oriented. And we are very much here in quantitative and qualitative research, because you see, when we are doing research, we must be understanding the types of research, but more or less we are very much acquainted with the quantitative and qualitative research, because quantitative research is very much employed for measuring the quantity or amount of particular phenomena, and qualitative research is non-quantitative type of analysis, which is very much aimed at finding out the quality of particular phenomena. So in quantitative, we'll study with the help of statistical analysis, we'll try to measure the quantity of the particular phenomena, and in case of qualitative research, we will be trying to identify the particular phenomena in quality term. So, and conceptual and empirical research, conceptual research is generally based on the philosophers or thinkers to develop new concepts, and empirical research is data-based research, which is very much used depending upon the experience and observation. So apart from that, other research are there also. Will not go deeper into the types of research. Rather, we'll try to we'll try to know about the types of research. One type of research could be conducted, diagnostic research could be conducted, exploratory research could be conducted, experimental research could be conducted, and historical research also could be conducted. And remember, one-time research always confined with single-time requirement, and all other resources, research categories are very much based on the cause of the problem and based on the requirement and based on the design of particular variable, and we are going to conduct our research in this way. And how to we'll enter into our subject now, how to develop original manuscript, how we will be developing one original research manuscript. So you must be knowing that before starting research, we have to choose right research question, and then only we'll go for literature survey and literature review. Then we will structure the research article and we'll start formatting. But thing is that when we'll be writing any scholarly article, we must see whether we'll follow original research, means primary sources of collecting data, or literature review, that means already been published, the review or the literature, types of varieties of literature is available also. When you are going to conclude yourself, then you decide what can be done. And in this way, when you will land that you will be doing, you are using primary sources or secondary sources, then you will be trying to adopt whether it will be quantitative or qualitative or mixed method to be adopted for your research. And population you will be taking when the topic will be designed. I shall tell you how to take the topic and how carefully you are going to design the research manuscript. And when you are going to start your research work, when you are starting to literature search to do for doing a literature search, read very thoroughly, extensively the conducted research on the same or similar area or topic. Check different citations, and you try to refer as much as journal articles you are getting, and refer different books, proceedings, online database, government reports, annual reports, any published material you are getting, if at all you are using literature review as your base. And then you try to list the citations. Different papers might have different citations platforms, so you try to follow all those things. And apart from that, these are the anatomy of scientific research paper writing. The first step is introduction. Then the second point is, when you are going to design the manuscript, you try to follow the anatomical portion of the manuscript. Introduction means what is known, the knowledge gap to be filled, what is unknown, the hypothesis or rationale, how and why should we fill the gap. I will tell you what is research gap. Methodology, what did you do? Result, what result did you get? Discussion, how do the results bridge the gap? Conclusion is going to, what does mean for us going forward? So these are the sequence of gathering your information, your flow of writing. Apart from that, I will be telling you, this is the total framework of research paper drafting. The first point is, you have to select a suitable title. How you will select a suitable title, I shall tell you. There are three ways, three type of titles you can take. During my course of presentation, I will be telling you how you are going to choose the very, very beautiful title for your paper. The title must, you remember, when you are taking the title must be attractive one, and it should be with the author's details must be there in the first page when you are writing the title. And when title part will be completed, then you will go for abstract. Then abstract, when you are designing the manuscript, you have to design in this manner. And when you are going to touch abstract area, make a very clear and concise version of your story, of your article, within 250 and 300 words. This varies from journal to journal. Nowadays, some journals they have restricted to 150 words only, and some journals they are allowing 200 words. So this is the standard I have taken. So the abstract to be within 250 to 300 words, and it should include the background of your studies and the aim, the methods, result, and conclusion of your research also to be put in a single line, that how you have concluded your paper. So from abstract, the reviewer, when a paper will be submitted for a peer review purposes, for a journal, for publication, in any good journal, there will be blind review process. So in that blind review process, the abstract will be taken very seriously, that how you have written the abstract, because that abstract will speak about your paper. And then after abstract, you will go for introduction. Introduction is very much indicative for your paper. Here you are going to open up your aim, what is with available knowledge, and what is your aim, and all those things will be incorporated in and when introduction stage will over, then method stage will be taken care. Here you have to justify your method you have selected for your experiment purposes. And then the next stage is results. When you will summarize the results, there will be many tables and figures will be there, and you will be using some statistical tool for making the table and making proper analysis from the table you have taken. It does not include you remember, it does not include a discussion of results, since this will be dealt with the next session, because result when I have seen some papers, they are written, they are writing results and discussion. It's okay. When you are going to separate result and discussion, you leave something, it will be taken in discussion part. And here in discussion, you have to explain your results with available information, and means you are going to experiment what you have experimented, you are going to discuss here. Then conclusion will be there, and in this stage you will conclude yourself with major findings, and don't repeat many times the similar type of things you have written in abstract, you have written in introduction. Don't repeat the same kind of sentence or same style of kind of like expression. You try to make it something different. So in your conclusion, you must give maximum emphasis on major findings and their importance. And last, you have to put the reference, and references is very much required for list of sources that you are going to acknowledge, because you cannot make a statement without any kind of like acknowledgement of sources. So when you are telling something, there must be sources. When you are going to establish your concept, there must be sources, whether it is original or it is primary or secondary, that must be taken care. And very briefly, I am telling you again that abstract must be divided into three parts. Abstract, when you are writing abstract, there must be introduction, there must be body, there must be conclusion. Again, abstract is divided into three parts. Remember, there must be introduction of your subject, of your topic, and there must be a valid body, how you found the subject is very much I mean to say important for the society, and what kind of management strategies or comprehensive management strategies you have adopted, and how it is important for the society, that must be taken here. And you must conclude your abstract that how this would be helping for the society directly or indirectly. So the function of abstract is to describe, not to evaluate, not to defend the paper. you have to make it a very, very open kind of like description. And the abstract should begin with a brief and very precise statement of problem or issue. I shall tell you how to identify the problems when you are going to write down a paper. And in this way, you have to write down when you will go through the sequence of abstract. You have to take the description followed by your research methods and your design and major findings and conclusion. All those things to be taken very, very carefully so that it will become a very meaningful abstract. So many people are writing abstract without any purpose. So if at all you will be writing without any systematic purpose, systematic manner, this your effort, your kind of like time and effort, everything will be you are going, you may not get proper reward for that. That is why you have to become very, very careful when you are writing any abstract. And then you slowly you came down to introduction. When you have entered into introduction, you have to open up your story to the readers through an interesting opening. When the opening will be interesting, then you will get a space, you will get a pace, or you get a kind of like a scope to describe the background. So you first you have to generate interest from the beginning of the introduction, so that you will get a scope to describe the background. So beginning from the beginning of introduction, don't write the background of your study. You write down such beautiful kind of like opening, which will be very, very interesting and very much important. That you tell why it is interesting, why it is important for others. Then you will get a scope to write down the background. Then you establish your research problems. Then you specify the objectives. You specify these are the objectives you have taken. And it is also sequence. You can make the sequence like this. After this research problem, you can specify your objectives and map out your papers accordingly. So further, if at all in a gross manner, we'll be telling. So introduction must be carrying what is known, what is unknown, and why and how you are going to fill the gap. And what is research gap, I'll be telling to you. And this, then after introduction, the next stage is literature review. Literature review is a very, very crucial part of your paper writing. When you are designing a manuscript, unless until it will be published, it will not be selected, it will be treated as a manuscript. And when a manuscript is going to be selected, is going to be published, it will become a paper, research paper. So when you are designing any manuscript, you give adequate importance to literature review. More and more literature review will be helping you to find out the gap and to find out the problems of the existing topic you have taken, and will help you a lot to fill the gap with your material. And literature review is very much important unless until the authors will have in-depth understanding and knowledge of their own subject or own field. It is very difficult to portray the entire scientific manuscript in a very planned manner. So to examine the research result, you have to go with extensive literature review. And there are 7 steps you have to follow when you are going to study different literature. And I'm telling you that if at all you will be studying literature properly, very, very it will become very, very easy for you to understand the gap, to understand the problems. And if at all more and more similar literatures are available, so you just carry it out to improve your knowledge. The first you collect the relevant literature, then it will automatically, it will help to improve your knowledge. And all research, you remember, builds an existing kind of established knowledge in the field. And literature review is very, very helpful to that extent of gaining knowledge. And literature review is the main source to identify the gaps which are existing to be investigated, and you have to establish a new fact. Because always a paper, a new paper, research paper always meant for a new knowledge, a new idea. You are coming with a new knowledge. You are going to produce a new knowledge that will help to the society. And literature review is offering an insight to the authors, as I told you, in-depth understanding. So then only you will make it proper evaluation, synthesis will be taking place, and you will very much determine when the gap will be studied properly. And these are the importance of research methodology step by step. And we must be knowing that research topic, research philosophy, research approach, and selection of methodology, and research strategies, estimated time scale, and research techniques. So these are the sequence. Very quickly I will be telling all those things, and I will be entering into the core part of our discussion. So research topic I have already discussed. I will be telling you how you will be taking the research topic very systematically. And research philosophy, you know very well, the research philosophy is very much important, that it is very much appropriate when a research is going to be identified for pragmatism, realism, and for identifying the different social conditions, and to believe or there is a gap between believing and unbelieving, non-believing situation. So these are the four pillars we have so far taken: pragmatism, realism, and this is interpretatism and positivism. So these four kind of like pillars are the philosophy of research. And we must see that whether the research approach, whether it is kind of a deduction kind of thing, or kind of like a abduction kind of things, or induction kind of things. And deduction means it is necessary that conclusion or model through application of reason. That the part we have to see. So based on that, we have to take the kind of like methods will be selected. And adaptation is making logical kind of like inference and other greater potential reasoning of qualitative research. So induction is a kind of like implementing or kind of implicating the generalized conclusion for various instances. So on that basis, the methods will be selected and the strategies will be made, and we must be trying to make it within the time frame, because time is very important. Time, effort is very, very important. Within the framework it should be done. And then I will be telling you that in conclusion, as we discussed, we have to take the research methods, which methods we have to follow, and what are the type of research we are doing. On that basis, we'll be discussing further. It is a continuous discussion. So when we are talking about discussion and conclusion, I have merged discussion and conclusion here. And you know very well, the first paragraph of this discussion and conclusion will provide the essential interpretation based on the key findings. And the first paragraph also include a main piece of supporting evidence. And you divide again, you come to the second paragraph. Second paragraph is also very crucial, because it creates a kind of compare or contrast to previous studies, highlight the strength and limitations of your study, discuss any unexpected findings if at all you got. So you have to incorporate all those things in your paper, and don't use different kind of like words that will become negative in its meaning, which will destroy your paper. Always I tell you, you make your paper very much open. Don't try to defend. So in this way, and the last paragraph of this discussion conclusion will carry, you have to summarize the hypothesis and purpose of the study, and highlights the significance of the study, and always try to make a give a scope for future research. You have to tell this research is a continuous process. Many other areas are open. Many things could be added with these findings, so that more and more result could be derived. And in this way, you have to write down the reference. Reference, basically, we are doing references are 4 types, and like APA, MLA, Chicago type, and ASA type of things. And basically, we are concerned with MLA and APA. MLA is a Modern Language Association, and APA is American Psychological Association. So if at all, this subject will be divided. Basically, MLA means the Modern Language Association carries this English, literature, religious studies, foreign language, and other communication things. And APA basically is responsible for psychology, education, business, nursing, and linguistic studies. So we are very much concerned, if at all we are writing any literature, so MLA will be part of our reference, kind of like reference style. And if at all we are writing management, education, commerce, and other psychology and other kind of like subject, then certainly we follow APA, and it is being instructed by the journal which type of reference you will follow. So many journals they tells about Chicago style also. Many journals they tell about essay format also. So based on the journal requirement, we have to do, and whenever we are making any reference, try to give all information as per their requirement, as per the standard requirement. So many people, many scholars, they are only giving the year and kind of like author's name, and somehow they are giving the title of the paper, and they must give where it has been published, journal name, volume, issue, and if at all they are DOI, you have to put all those things. If there is some reference online available also, you can give the reference, so that what will happen, complete reference will be available to evaluate your paper, to give justice to your work. And I told you what is a research problem. Research problem, as I told you, it is where you will find difficulty in your process, in your research process. So research problem is the first and foremost step to overcome, because it can either be a real life situation, or it may also refer to a set of opportunities, because based on the problems, you will find out the gap, and you will try to overcome all those things. And I am going to tell you how to identify the research problems. Whenever we are discussing about research problem, most of the researcher, they do not understand what is research problem exactly. So today I am going to tell you what is research problem. Research problem means not the gross information is you are looking into. You must go to the deep into the to the deepest part of the to the very micro part of the problem. So I am telling you that, for example, there are two examples we have given. One is wrong problem identification, one is correct problem identification. So when we are discussing about wrong problem identification, suppose you will be taking product as laptop, market is Western, and problem is sale is not picking up as you are expecting. This is not the problem. The problem, correct problem, will be analyzed in this way. The product is laptop, market is Western, and you have to segment your market on the basis of the sales. Suppose in India, I have taken 4 or 5 places. Western means I have taken Mumbai, Pune, Nashik, Ahmedabad, and Baroda. And current market size, market share is 27% of our product, is 27% in the market. And the market, again, we have to segment whether it is industrial supply or individual supply, or office customers or non-office customers. So we have taken here non-office customers. That means professionals such as lawyers, doctors, accountants, consultants, journalists, academician, researcher. So current market share of non-office customer is 8.5%. As I told you, we have taken non-office segment. And the problem is, in the year 2018-19, our brand of laptop achieved only a 2% growth rate as against the projected 5% growth rate. So what is the problem? Now you got the problem that how to find out the reasons for the shortfall in the growth rate in the non-office market segment and suggest a specific strategy to achieve. So this is the complete problem analysis. This is the diagnosis. Until unless a patient will be diagnosed properly, the proper medicine cannot be prescribed by a doctor. So like you are a doctor, you are a researcher. You have to diagnose the problem properly. When the diagnosis of the problem will be proper by you, then it will be easier to find out the gap. So how you will, there are 7 steps. Very quickly, I'm telling you. Research problems. Identify the broad area. You should identify the broad area. Dissect means narrow down the broad area into sub areas. And you have to mark off your interest always, which area you need to be concentrate, what is your exact interest to find out the results, that you have to mark off. And you have to design the research question. I will tell you how to narrow down a research question. And you have to set out the objectives, and you have to access your objectives, and again you have to double check your kind of like steps. So if actually you are going to follow all those things, the 7 steps, then it will be easier to find out the entire problems. So for example, one, I will very simple example I am going to give you. Identify the broad area. Broad area may be unemployment, road accident, community health, HIV, AIDS, or COVID-19, etc. These are the broad area. For example, Today, we'll be taking unemployment is our broad area. How you are going to dissect, you are going to narrow down, that I am going to tell you. So you just try to specify your research of broad area into sub areas, because your broad area is very much associated with different sub areas. Unemployment is a broad area. Unemployment, what unemployment causes, that you must understand. So unemployment causes social problem, maybe unemployment and social stability, and unemployment and crime, unemployment and individual frustration. So that you have to understand which area you have to take, because here you have to give a link with your broad area to sub area. So when you are going to find out the sub area, it will be easier for you to land on the conclusion. And mark up your interest. As I told you, you have to select your interest area so that it will be easier for you. And as I told you, you have to develop a question. The question may be like this: how unemployment impacts individual social status, how it affects social stability, how it creates frustration on individual's mind. So that question must be framed by you, then only it will be easier for you to work on this and to conclude your research paper. And you have to lay down a set of objectives to satisfy or to make you more empowered to go ahead with your paper. That means without objective, as we have assembled here to listen something, this is our objective. So and to enrich our knowledge, this is our objective. To learn something, this is our objective. To know something, this is our objectives. And to use all those things in the field, this is our objective. So we must find out the objectives. So objectives are very much essential, which are coming from research questions, as I discussed some questions. So objectives can be framed through your questions only. So that means if you do study impact of unemployment on individual social status, then you should take the question accordingly. And for example, your main objective might be to examine the unemployment status in the particular society or state. So the sub-objective would be their effects on individuals' social life. So that objectives can be framed very systematically, very I mean to say, without any kind of second thought, which will help as a yardstick. That is only problem identification. You have to design your questions accordingly. You have to study the questions based on that. And the objective must be accessible, because you see, time, budget, resources, expertise, technical expertise, all those things are very much limited. So with that limited scope, you have to deliver the paper. That does not mean you will write a paper, and data will be changing and everything will be changing. And again, from the beginning, you have to study. So you have to frame a very judiciously. You have to take the time and resources. Then only you can reach at your goal. Again, I'm telling, when you are in the process, you try to check it again and again, so that your research work will be more mature. And there are the sources of problems. There are 4 sources of problem. One is people. These are known as 4 P's. One is people, problem, program, and phenomenon. So always you remember people and problem are very much, I mean to say, are very much correlated. You see, People means individual. Individually, we are single elements, and one organization, people where people are working, any groups, any community. These are the combination or the people they are gathering. They have joined. So problem is like issue, situation, association. So when there will be any organization, there will be any situation may be taken place. So the research problem must be identified in a very systematic manner. And as you know very well, problem, program, and phenomenon, these are the very much subject areas where cause and effect and relationship plays a very important role. And I will tell you what exactly research gap you are going to face when a research work will be started. Because I told you, you will start the research. If at all you will following research literature review, it's okay. You will be studying the past knowledge. And when it is an opportunity for you, you are going to give a new idea, new knowledge is going to be generated. It is expected that you are going to generate a new or to establish a new idea. So you have to follow that principle. And whenever you are following this literature review is the past experience, and also whenever you are studying, you are going with your required unknown kind of like data, because these are not available. If expected knowledge is possible, it is an opportunity for you. It is an opportunity to establish a new thought. So there are possibilities of gap in population, size of population, because you are studying a very critical issue and very few sample population or size of sample is very low. So in that case, there is a provision how much sample you have to take. So on the basis of that, if there will be a gap in population, that also will become a gap. Gap in analysis will be a gap. Gap in implication, maybe it is a gap. Gap in methods, it is a gap. Gap in concept, it is a gap. Gap in perspectives, it is a gap. Gap in theory, it is a gap. Gap in methodology, it is a gap. So you have to study the gap. You have to study the gap where, looking into your interest, you have to study the gap. From where you will be starting and how you are going to meet or fill the gap with your knowledge, with your research. So research gap is a kind of like undiscovered area. I mean to say, the gap may be created by population, by analysis, by implication, by methods, by concept. So that gap to be identified very properly. And when you will be very much sufficient to identify the gap, it will be your plus point to reach on a very systematic, I mean to say, approach could be developed, and it will be kind of like incentive for you, so that you could be able to identify the gap. So when gap could be identified, being a doctor, you found that there is a gap between the two bones. That is why pain is coming. Inflammation is there. So that X-ray, you have to use X-ray. You have to do MRI. You have to do a different kind of investigation. Then only the position could be explained. So in that way also, you have to make an X-ray, make an X-ray. You have to identify the entire gap, so that whether it is a gap in population, gap in analysis, gap in implication, gap in methods, gap in theory, and gap in population, as I told you. So that you have to identify. And there are 5 steps to identify research gap. The first is you have to pick up the specific problem area. The second step is you want to achieve, make sure they are realistic. So the gap identification must be realistic one, because that is going to align your idea. If gap is not realistic, it is very much difficult to align your idea. And the third step is the status of your necessary data, what you have collected, whether it is sufficient or not. The fourth is kind of define the different parameters to study the gap. And the fifth is kind of like steps to close the entire things. So because you see many young researchers, I would like to tell you, are often stuck in this step because of burning precious time and compromising other stages of research, including field work and data collection, but unable to understand the gap. So first you understand the problems, then you try to understand the gap. If at all you have understood the real kind of like identified the gap, it will be very, very easier for you to go ahead with the system. Then formulation of research question, as I told you, you have to narrow down the question, because here, for example, I have taken a very generic question, that media violence. Media violence is a very broad question, but it is a very general topic. But we have to narrow down that whether this media violence is applicable for children, for adolescent, or for like a for any kind of age group. So if at all, again we will narrow down, are teens affected by violent media? So teen age group we have taken. So again you narrow down, is there any evidence that violent video games increase violence in teens? So this kind of questions, once you will be developing, it will be help you to reach at your goal in a very systematic manner. And as I told you, creating an attractive title of your manuscript also speaks about your personality of your paper. Because sometimes you see, if at all you will be trying to create some curiosity in the mind of the readers, you have to follow three kinds of title for your manuscript. One is declarative, one is descriptive, one is interrogative. So descriptive is a kind of like a title which state the main conclusions. That means I have taken an example, mixed strains of probiotics improve antibiotic associated diarrhea. We have given the conclusive statement that mixed strains of probiotics improve antibiotic associated diarrhea. We have given the statement. This is our conclusion of our paper. We have given. And descriptive. Descriptive means you have to describe the subject. You have to describe the subject. For example, effects of mixed strains of probiotics on antibiotic associated diarrhea. We have started to describe the effects. So here we have taken the descriptive method for establishing our title. And interrogative. Interrogative, you can also put a question mark. That means on title you can put a question mark. Do mixed strains of probiotics improve antibiotic associated diarrhea? So you see, the same one area we have taken probiotics, antibiotics, and that strains of probiotics we have taken in different forms. So that depends how you are going to establish the facts. And I will not take much time. You see, as I told you, it is required whenever you are writing any original paper, hypothesis, if at all you are taking, if at all you are taking the help of like primary data and all those things. So it is required, and I will not take much time on this, and I will come to the characteristics of hypothesis, because you see, when you are going to establish your idea, you have to take some assumptions, and your hypothesis must be conceptually clarity and must be specific, must be testable, must be simple, and must be objective oriented. And on that basis, there are different kind of hypotheses are there, and one is descriptive, one is rational, one is null, one is alternative hypothesis, and one is these are the functions of hypothesis. Hypothesis gives a very definite point to the investigation and provides direction to the study. It determines the data needs whenever you are doing any primary data survey. So you have to take this. And in my conclusion, I will always I will become happy to tell you that whenever you are doing research, you try to cultivate these 7 habits, so that it will become a kind of like it will give you sufficient energy for drafting a very qualitative paper, maybe on the basis of primary data or on the basis of secondary data. Sure, connect yourself means you ask yourself always. You ask yourself always. You interact yourself. You try to interact yourself. Whether you have given proper justification to your work, or you have you could not be able to give adequate time to identify the gap, to identify the problems, to structure the question properly. So these are the important things. You try to talk with you. You talk with your heart. Whenever you will be talking with you, you will be getting so many answers. Your answer will be there in your hands. And connect to the domain knowledge. You always try to study the relevant journals, relevant publications published in website or available in your library, whatever it may be. And connect to the institution, to your university, to your library for interaction. You see, whenever you will be getting a chance to interact with the superiors, with your supervisor, with the professor, with the experts, so you will be getting some new clue that will be helping you a lot. And always try to connect with the industries, because you see, innovations are coming through different organizations, and those innovations, those new things, new idea will be initially will be tested, will be run, will be implemented by the industries. So you should be connected with the industries and connect to the profession. Profession means we are readers. We always will be trying to update our writer, our knowledge. So many laws, many new things, many policy makers are coming with new policy, new laws, and new kind of things, and new kind of I mean to say ideas are being generated by different people of the society. So whenever we will be connected to our own profession, then only we could be able to gather all those things. Then you connect to the society, because unless until you will be connected to the society properly, we cannot contribute on the basis of the requirement of the society. We must connect ourselves to the society so that the problems could be identified very, very quickly. That will help a lot to deliver. And with this, thank you very much for your patience listening. And I am very much happy that today I could be able to share my views, and I hope the participants, if at all they will be using in their when they will be developing any paper, may be useful for drafting and for placing that paper suitably in different journals, and the paper will be selected. Thank you very much, EduScare Research University, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much, madam.